What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and news report for Thursday, April 8th. Now, today we have some pretty big news. Stuff came out last night I want to address. Today we're actually going to go over the reasons why lawmakers are actually pushing for a fourth stimulus check. We will discuss the unemployment situation right now and what is causing a lot of lawmakers to actually worry and somewhat panic at this time. We will go over how millions of Americans might not be able to get their unemployment benefits anymore, and I'll explain that in detail, and I will address how one Senate Democrat is actually completely opposed to Democrats and their infrastructure tactics at this time. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot to cover for today's video, so let's jump right into it. First, lawmakers are pushing for another stimulus check. Yes, they want to see a fourth stimulus check. And there's reasons to this. It's not just because there's progressives that wanted a $2,000 stimulus check about a year ago and never happened, and so they're continuing to push for it. It's not just because of that. It's not just because many Democrats are very upset that Republicans caused the Capitol riot, right? Because that's what we're hearing. Is that it's Republicans that caused this riot. It's all Republicans. Now, I'm not trying to get on the side of Republicans or the side of Democrats, trying to stay right in the middle. But that's what we're hearing, is that there are some lawmakers right now, Democratic lawmakers, that are completely opposed to doing any type of bipartisan deal with Republicans because they are still upset about that January 6th Capitol riot. So, lawmakers are pushing for an additional stimulus check because they say that there are reports out that 4 out of 10 Americans say that their income is below pre-pandemic levels. So they need additional money. They also say the unemployment isn't helping 100% of people like they expected it was going to do. Many lawmakers thought by adding $300 per week, that would actually raise their income, so that they would actually make more than what they were making at their previous job. Well, it's not actually doing exactly what they wanted. This is the problem, is lawmakers were expecting certain results and now they're not getting those results. That's creating a lot of issues. And in addition to that, the child tax credit won't actually kick in until sometime during the summer. It's supposed to start in July. However, the IRS is not very hopeful that it gets done, and they are saying that this is going to be a challenge. Chances are we would see checks start coming in August or possibly September. It's not great. The hardest part right now is that the unemployment rate for low-income communities is actually higher than in other areas. And this is a big issue. What they're saying is that low-wage industries such as the food service industry and hospitality industry is where demand is actually lagging by quite a bit. And because of that, this entire industry is hurting. Well, the food services and hospitality industries, those are two of the lower paid industries, which is creating more and more issues. If the jobs aren't coming back and unemployment isn't what it needs to be, which some were saying it needed to be 600, others say 400 would suffice. However, then they dropped it down to 300. Now, many people are saying they actually don't make as much as they used to simply because they are now collecting unemployment. So lawmakers are pushing for another stimulus check because the American people need it, not just because they want it. Some say a $1,000 stimulus check would help millions. Others say pushing for $2,000 as a stimulus check or even monthly is what is needed. And 21 senators who wrote President Biden just the other day said almost 6 out of 7 people say their $1,400 payments set to be included in the rescue package will last them less than 3 months. So, what we can tell you right now is this group of lawmakers, they're asking the right questions, but until we see a vast majority of lawmakers asking these same questions, we might not see any additional changes. Some are saying, what should these people do come June when their money is all gone? But let me ask you, okay? Because lawmakers are saying right now, the $1,400 is going to last people until June, okay? About 3 months. So we got pretty much April, May, June, right? because a lot of people received their stimulus checks, their $1,400 at least, back in March. Okay, so you got pretty much most of March, all of April, all of May. So sometime in June, your money's going to run out. But let me know. If you received your $1,400 stimulus checks, let me know. How long has that lasted you? Is the money gone, or do you still have some? Let me know. I'm curious, because right now I think they are kind of exaggerating how long these stimulus checks are going to last, because I don't think they're going to last 3 months. I think they'll last max, possibly 2 months. So, and all this right now is expected to happen in June. We're expected to see a lot of different things. But what some say is what happens in September. After September 6th, when the $300 per week in unemployment benefits, when that is gone, when that runs out, what do the American people do then? What are they supposed to do for food? What are they supposed to do for any income? Because if the jobs do not come back, which some are saying they might not, okay? Just today, we did get the new unemployment claims report. Last week it came out and said we saw 728,000 new unemployment claims. This week it was a little bit higher, in addition to 16,000, but we are sitting at 744,000 new claims from last week alone. So that's not great. Some experts say that the pre-pandemic levels were around 220,000 per week. This currently is over 3 times that size, which is creating even more issues. So we are still a long ways away from going back to normal. Experts say it could be a long time before we see the unemployment claims drop to 220,000 new claims per week. And many worry that there is not enough jobs for the 19 million people that are currently getting unemployment benefits to even go back to. We also know that 23 states at this time are currently saying that they will be requiring, or they are currently requiring, anybody receiving unemployment benefits to actually go and look for work in order to qualify for those benefits moving forward. This is going to create a big issue. This is going to cause many people to lose all their benefits, not receive any income, unless, because President Biden has done an executive order here, if they can say and they can attest to having a valid COVID concern about returning to work, then they will continue to receive benefits and they do not have to look for a job. So that's what we know right now. But even though there is a huge push for additional stimulus checks, additional direct payments to the American people, the only way this is going to be included at this time is through a budget reconciliation. The good news is that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he has kind of secured an additional budget reconciliation with the Senate parliamentarian. The problem, though, is there's one Senate Democrat that opposes this, and that is Senator Joe Manchin. He's opposed to using an additional budget reconciliation, even though this is their only path forward at this time, because the GOP says they will not support a infrastructure bill that is anywhere near $2.25 trillion, and that is just about half of it. This bill is supposed to be close to $4 trillion. And Mitch McConnell says there's no way they would support this, and he will fight it every step of the way. However, last night, Joe Manchin, who's a centrist Democrat, who some say he's Democrat in name only, he should really be a Republican, Joe Manchin had this to say, and I quote, "If the filibuster is eliminated or budget reconciliation becomes the norm, a new and dangerous precedent will be set to pass sweeping partisan legislation that changes the direction of our nation every time there's a change in political control. The consequences will be profound. Our nation will never see stable governing again." He also went on to say, and I quote, "I simply do not believe budget reconciliation should replace regular order in the Senate. How is that good for the future of this nation? Senate Democrats must avoid the temptation to abandon our Republican colleagues on important national issues. Republicans, however, have a responsibility to stop saying no and participate in finding real compromise with Democrats." Now, what he's simply saying here is that he wants to see Democrats work with their colleagues across the aisle, with Republicans, and find common ground. Not just pass a bill because they can through a budget reconciliation, through a loophole, which isn't done all the time. if this is going to be the new norm, we see a budget reconciliation done on every single bill just because Democrats have full control, what happens when Republicans gain full control? What happens then? What will happen? Well, I can tell you what's going to happen is our governing is going to swing from one extreme to the other. And it's going to keep going one extreme to the other. And the issue with that is nobody is, especially, children, even the, younger people, myself included, if you don't understand the politics behind all this stuff, you don't understand what is happening, you're going to kind of go with those swings. And it's going to be an up and down battle for you for years. So just want you to understand that what he's saying makes sense, but he's also saying that his Republican colleagues have to stop saying no and participate in finding real compromise with Democrats. And it goes both ways. Democrats have to compromise and find that common ground with Republicans as well. So even though Joe Manchin wants to see, Democrats work with Republicans and come to some type of agreement and find some bipartisanship on this next bill, the problem is that it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. President Biden has said that he wants to. He tried in the last bill, but the Republicans came to the table with a $600 billion offer instead of $1.9 trillion. And when they talked about it, they never came back with a better compromise. He said he would have, but they never did. So we will see what happens. But the White House officials state they're not worried about Joe Manchin's position at this time because they say there's plenty of time between now and when the bill finally passes to get him to come along. So we will see what happens there. So there's opposition on both sides from Democrats and Republicans on this $2.25 trillion infrastructure package. But what I can tell you is if there's no infrastructure package that is going to pass, then there's really no way any additional stimulus checks, an extension of unemployment benefits, or extension of the child tax credits, or any other stimulus to the American people will be included. Because as of right now, I can tell you that it does not seem likely that lawmakers would push an additional stimulus package through. Some say it's just not needed, but some say we could have an additional stimulus package sometime in this summer. So possibly July. It won't happen in August, I can tell you that, because the Congress will be on recess. But if it doesn't happen in July, chances are when they get back in September and we see if the unemployment rate hasn't dropped as significantly as they are wanting and hoping, we could see an additional stimulus package pass sometime in September, which would mean there's going to be about, I don't know at that time, but currently there's 19 million people collecting unemployment benefits. We could see almost all 19 million people go off of unemployment benefits, and then they will be struggling because they have no money. So there's a huge shift coming. We don't know what it's going to do. We don't know when it's going to come, but we do know it is happening. So as always, as I know more, I promise I'll keep you updated on all the changes and all the new information that we hear. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.